Sounds good to me.
Right, we've got a lovely guest. It's Anne Duffield from Northwoods Housing. Hello, Anne. Thanks for coming on today, because I know you've had a busy morning with meetings. And you're going to be talking about a fabulous new project in Charlestown area of North Manchester, and it's called Whitebeck Court. Now, it started off as 3 years ago, a derelict sort of tower block. How has it sort of gone on from that to becoming this fabulous... You're going to tell us more about what it actually, involves, but how has it gone from being an empty tower block to full up, basically?
Whitebeck Court was a block that was built in the 1960s, and it was emptied and was no longer needed in 2006, and so it was emptied, and at that stage it was a block that anybody could live in. It was just a general needs block for people over the age of 18, and it had significant problems, and so it was emptied. And
what kind of problems were you sort of...
It had a lot of antisocial behaviour issues, that sort of thing. So the block was deemed no longer needed, so it was emptied at that time, but there was no real decision about what was going to happen to the block. Was it going to be demolished, or was it going to be refurbished and used for something else? So that happened in 2006, and it stood empty for a couple of years. And then in 2008, my chief executive saw that there was an opportunity to apply for some Department of Health funding to create extra care schemes, capital funding to create extra care schemes across the country.
Now, what is extra care, for those who don't know?
Well, extra care is a halfway house, really, between what people might know as sheltered housing and residential care.
Okay.
So it you'll have your own apartment, your own tenancy in the block, but there'll be scheme managers on site and wardens on site to help you out during the day. But there'll also be a chance for you to, if you need assessed care from the local authority, that care can also be provided on site. So you can have peace of mind that there'll be care available if you're assessed for that and need it 24 hours a day.
Oh, you've answered all my questions now. You packed it all into like two minutes.
It's good, isn't it? Because it provides a nice bit of independence for the people that live in there.
It does, and that's a really good thing about it, and it'll create a real community as well. There's 91 apartments in the block. The block opened 2 weeks ago, so people are just moving into that at the moment. But it's really about there's people moving in from all sorts of different housing at the moment. People might have lived in their own property. They might have rented a property from the council or from Northwoods for many years and find that house now too big for them. They might live in private rented accommodation currently.
So you're finding that's actually helping free up existing sort of, obviously, because social housing now is in such demand, with a high waiting list. Are you finding that it's actually alleviating the problem?
Yes, and that's one of the really good sides of this, because you get a double hit, really. You release some family housing, and also older people are now finding somewhere that they really want to live. Because it's often that people that live in their own houses, and it might just be them, it's not that they don't necessarily want to move, but it's having the right thing to move to. And what people don't want to do is give up their family home for a one-bed flat that maybe is in an area they don't want to be in, or they're a bit worried about isolation. And this will offer people lots of things that we all want in a home. It'll offer them a sense of community, safety, security, staff on site if they need that, to give that extra peace of mind.
I think it's good because it's sort of, obviously, old people, they don't want to be uprooted. Say they've been in the same house pottering around for 40 years. Sometimes it's hard to get them to admit that they can no longer cope, with the cleaning, stuff like that. So how would you sell that idea to, say, because I know you have a piano bar, don't you? And have you sort of been, I know it's better than most apartment blocks.
I want to move in.
No, can we put our name down the waiting
We'll all be there in a few years.
How have sort of residents responded to that, the upheaval, of families and other people that are concerned?
I think that people that have applied to us, just like to start off to say, is that people that have got their own secure tenancy at the moment, but there's no, that people don't have to leave their own houses. This is very much a choice that people are making, and I think that those people that are choosing to move in, a lot of it'll be a decision. It's a really big decision for people, like you say, that have lived in their own home for many years, and so we'll have staff that will go out and talk to people, talk them through the options that are available. Talk through sort of the criteria for moving into Whitebeck Court. And because we've known about that this is going to happen for a couple of years, a lot of people have had a lot of time to get used to whether or not this is the right thing for them to do. We've had a couple of big open days so people can come round and meet other people that are also wanting to move in and look at the facilities on site as well. We've had brochures available and information on our website, but the lounge on the 16th floor with its panoramic views of the city and the golf course is one of its really great features. It's absolutely fabulous, and that lounge is for residents only, and they'll be able to go up there and socialise with their neighbours or take their guests up there.
Well, we'll come back to some of the great features, but so you're saying it's like a mini Beetham Tower?
I think it's on a par with Beetham Tower.
Is there a criteria that any residents have to meet to move in there?
Well, everybody's got to be over 60. That's the first. That's the first criteria, and then it's really done on whether or not people have got a housing need. So, have people got a medical need that they might need, or are they? If they're under-occupying their current home, that type of thing, so they're releasing a family home. So there'll be some people that will move in with a housing need. And then to make sure that the care facilities on site are used to capacity as well, there'll be a number of people that will move in with a different range of care needs. Okay. So some people might move in at 60 or 65 and have no care needs at all, but really want that safety and security that as their needs change as they get older, then they're not going to have to move house again. Yeah. And extra care really stops people moving into residential care in very many cases. And it'll also, in lots of people that have care packages in the community currently, we find that those care packages go down when they move in because they're getting that level of independence back because they feel more safe and secure. So some people will move in with no care needs, some with what we class as low care needs, so that's under 4 hours a week of assessed care. Some people with between 4 and 10 hours of assessed care, and some people with bigger packages than that, and there'll be a mixture of those people across the scheme.
Okay, so would you get, like, say, someone who's quite disabled, say, mixed with someone who's maybe just okay pottering along and with no sort of need at all?
Yeah, definitely. All the properties are fully adapted, so they've all got wet rooms. There's no baths in these properties. They've all got wet rooms in, and they're fitted for things like where hoists can be fitted in the future as well. And they're all wheelchair adapted, so people can get, if they've got an electric scooter or they've got a wheelchair, they'll be able to get around the property. So people that like move in with those needs will be fine, and those people that might have those needs in the future will also mean they don't have to move.
I mean, if I was, like I say, a disabled person, my main concern would be, what if the lift breaks down?
The lifts are brand new.
Would be if someone sort of on site to sort of, they could ring up a number and then...
Yeah, there's 4 members of staff on site. There's 2 scheme managers that are Northwood's housing staff, and they're on site from 8 till 4 during the day. There's also a facilities manager who's full-time, and his job is basically making sure the building's working, so if there's any problems with lifts or windows or locks or doors and all that, fire safety, all of that type of thing is his responsibility. And then there's a cleaner as well that's making sure that all the floors, all the communal areas are kept clean as well. So those are the staff, and then there's care staff on top of that as well.
Sounds like a great idea. What do you think to that, Kate?
It does really sound great. And have you got any plans to develop other sites that are similar to this?
This is our only site at the moment. We've got a number of retirement schemes. We've got 15 retirement schemes around North Manchester, which are sort of a level below. Okay. And they're spread out all over the north of the city.
Yeah, because you got there's one at the back of Bernard Manning's club, isn't there? There's the Annie Darby Court. There's quite a few, isn't there, that you run?
Yeah, we've got a number of those. Those are all one-bed properties and don't have the care available on site. They've got the scheme managers on site during the day and working hours and working with residents, but they don't have the actual care packages on site in the way that Whitebeck does.
So that's what sort of describes it as extra care then. You've got the 24 round the clock. Yeah, right, okay, just so people know. So what feedback have you had? So I'm presuming people have moved in already, haven't they?
Yeah, not very many people. There's only 6 people that have moved in so far. The first person moved in last Friday.
Oh, right.
So they were very excited about being the first people to be in, and we're hoping to be full come sort of mid to end of June. It's a very clinical operation moving people in, as you can imagine. Moving 91 people into apartments in a tower block is we can only move 2 or 3 people in a day, so we're not getting the logistics of that are it's people getting all their carpets fitted and moving all their bits and bobs of furniture.
So I was going to say that, do they come fully furnished, or is it an option to get that fully furnished, that flat? Or
we don't really do furniture packages. All the flats have been completely refurbished for those people that sort of know where the tower blocks are on Victoria Avenue in Charlestown. This one is the shiny one that stands out a mile now. Yeah. So it's been overclad, so it's very, very energy efficient. It's got solar panels on the side, and that'll help hopefully to keep some of the communal energy bills down.
Great idea.
But all the flats have been refurbished to a really, really high standard. They've all got brand new bathrooms, brand new fitted kitchens. They're all replastered, all decorated throughout, and they've got electric underfloor heating in them. They've got floor-to-ceiling windows. The balconies have been enclosed to make the living rooms slightly larger and give these amazing views. And they've got fitted electric cookers and hobs in there as well.
Right. So it sounds, tell us more about the facilities within the actual block. There's got the piano bar, there's a fitness suite, I believe.
There's a therapy suite on the ground floor, and there's a hairdresser's, and there'll be a small shop as well that can just do, we'll do like bread and milk and sort of the basics, so people be able to get all those basics that they need as well. And then there's a daycare centre on the ground floor. This has been a big extension to the block and has replaced what was the Broadmoss Centre that was the other side of Whitebeck Court. And people who have assessed daycare will be able to come in and use that daycare centre. But there's also a cafe in there as well that the local community can come in and use.
Oh, so don't tell me mum that.
So if people want to come in and get a cup of tea during the day, then anybody can come in from the local community and use the cafe and get sandwiches and type of things. Well, so it's really a community facility as much as a daycare centre for older people on half of the ground floor. The cafe's there really to be used as that for people to come and meet and have a brew and read the papers and do that.
Sounds a great idea. Tell us, I need to know about this piano bar because I've heard so much about it. What exactly is it? Is that like the lounge area of the
yeah, it hasn't actually got a piano in it, I will say. I will say that.
Maybe it's just a term that you use, your piano bar.
It's an extension to the roof. So there's two apartments on the 16th floor facing the south of the city, but on the north side of the top of the block is a brand new lounge that's been constructed on the roof. And that again's got the floor to ceiling windows and the panoramic views. There's a kitchen area in there where residents can go up there and make themselves a cup of tea, and there's a TV up there and a stereo system so people can go up and put some music on or
blimey.
It's excellent.
And the sunsets are amazing from up there as well, so people will be
I can imagine.
One of the first resident that moved in last Friday was telling one of my colleagues that the best thing about it was she could lie in bed on a morning and watch the sunrise, and that was just so amazing for her on one of the upper she's got an apartment on one of the upper floors.
So if you're scared of heights, what would you sort of put somebody on the lower floors, say?
Yeah, we've been, especially at first let, because the block's been completely empty, we've been able to be really flexible with people, so people have really chosen all sorts of things, because for me housing's very much about somewhere where people want to be. So people have chosen what floor they want to be on, they've chosen what view they want. Yeah. So we had a big open day at the beginning of March, we had about 90 people come to that with their families.
That's good.
And where we'd allocated properties to people, they were coming back to us and going, actually, I want to be a little bit lower down, or I'd like south side or north side. So we've been as flexible as we can with where people want to be. It's their home, and hopefully we'll be their home for many years. So we just want people to be as happy there as possible.
Well, you sound very animated about them. We're quite excited as well.
I am, because it's something so positive. All you do when you turn on the news, you just hear of cuts left, right and centre, and then this is something really positive that's going to be happening, so it's brilliant to know.
Yeah. Right, let's have a quick break.
24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
106.6.
Sounds good to me.